You're not tired. You're just carrying too much, not in your hands, but in your mind, in your chest, in the silent corners of your soul that no one sees. You carry expectations that were never yours, guilt for things you didn't cause, voices that don't belong in your head, roles you never chose but kept playing anyway. You call it being responsible, you call it being strong, but deep down, you know something's off. Because no matter how much you do, you always feel one step behind. Like the air is heavy, like your smile is getting harder to fake. And the worst part, you don't even remember when it started. You just woke up one day and felt heavy, not in your body, but in your being. You try to shake it off. You blame work. You blame people. You blame yourself. But maybe, just maybe, it's not your fault. Maybe you're not tired from doing too little. Maybe you're exhausted from holding on to too much. Because here's the truth. Most of what drains you wasn't chosen by you. It was handed to you. Conditioning, culture, family, noise. And now it's time to see it clearly and let it go in silence. Behind your strength, like a neon stoic. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to remove so you can finally breathe again. Elena, and the sinking boat, the name was Elena, a fisherwoman, respected, reliable, resilient. But every time she set sail, her boat felt heavier. Not because of the waves, not because of the sea, but because of all the things she refused to let go. Broken nets, worn-out ropes, toolboxes full of rust and memory. They once had meaning, they once brought value, but now they were dumb, dead weight. And she knew it. Still, she carried them, out of habit, out of fear, out of the story she told herself. I might need this one day. Then one morning, the sea turned, the storm came, and Elena couldn't move. Not because she lacked strength, but because she was overloaded. The waves weren't the threat, the cargo was. So she did the one thing she thought she never could. She let go. Net by net, rope by rope, even the tools that once defined her. And when she released what no longer served her, her boat began to float. Her arms could steer, her mind could breathe. She made it back, not by fighting harder, but by finally releasing what was sinking her. Just like Elena. Maybe you're not drowning because of what life throws at you. Maybe you're drowning because of what you're still holding on to. And maybe it's time to let go in a silence. The first thing to remove is the fear of other people's opinions. It starts small, a comment here, a raised eyebrow there, and before you know it, you're living for an audience that never asked you to perform. You hold back your voice, you filter your choices, you walk into rooms trying to be acceptable, not real. Why? Because you're afraid of being judged, of being misunderstood, of being talked about by people who don't even know your story. But here's what the Stoics knew. Other people's mindset, not your responsibility. Marcus Aurelius said, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't be. The real harm is what you do to yourself when you live through their eyes." So let it go, quietly, without announcing it. Start choosing clothes you like, speaking thoughts that are yours, making choices that answer only to your own inner compass. Because your life was never meant to be a group project. Let go of the fear, let go of the show, return to your center. In silence, with strength. The second thing you need to remove is the guilt that was never truly yours. You carry it in quiet moments, in memories, in the way you flinch when someone raises their voice, not because you did something wrong, but because you were trained to believe. It's your fault when others are upset. You apologize for being tired, for needing space, for not being who they expected. But here's the truth. Guilt can be taught, and often it's inherited. Sometimes from a parent, sometimes from a partner, sometimes from culture itself. The Stoics would say, you're only responsible for what you control. And that includes your actions, not their interpretations. So, if you've been carrying guilt for choosing rest, for setting a boundary, for finally saying, enough, let it go, not with a scream, not with an argument, just let it fade, like smoke from a fire that's already burned out. Their story isn't your burden. Their emotions aren't your prison. Release the guilt in silence and take your peace back, one breath at a time. The third thing you need to remove is people who drain your soul. Not because they're evil, not because they mean harm, but because being around them feels like losing pieces of yourself, one conversation at a time. You feel exhausted after they leave. You replay what you said. You doubt your tone. You question your worth. These people don't always yell. Sometimes they smile. Sometimes they ask for just one more favor, and you say yes, while something inside you says no. Here's the Stoic truth. Energy is finite. Your time, your space, your presence are not charity. Seneca wrote, people are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful. So protect your time. Protect your inner fire. You don't need a fight. You don't need to prove anything. Just stop showing up. Stop replying first. Stop being available for people who treat your peace like it's free. You don't owe anyone access to the version of you that you're still trying to rebuild. Let them go in silence and watch what returns. The fourth thing you need to remove is the need to control everything. You think it's responsibility. You think it's leadership. You think it's just who you are. But deep down, it's fear. Fear of chaos, fear of disappointment, fear of the unknown. So you try to manage it all, people, plans, outcomes, even their emotions, but control is a lie. And the tighter you grip, the more life slips through your hands. The Stoics understood this long ago. They didn't seek control, they sought mastery of themselves. Epictetus said, some things are in our control and others are not. That's not a theory, it's a compass. So start letting go of trying to fix everyone, of needing things to go your way, of assuming that worry, preparation, trust the process, trust the flow, trust that you are strong enough to handle life without trying to dominate it. You don't need to hold everything together to be whole. Let go of control and make space for now freedom. The fifth thing you need to remove is the story that you're behind in life, behind your peers, behind the version of you that you thought you'd be by now. It's a cruel story, and worse, it feels real, because everywhere you look, someone is ahead, more successful, more stable, more loved, more together. But here's what that story forgets. Everyone's clock ticks differently. The Stoics never rushed. They focused on the present duty, not imagined deadlines. Seneca said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. And comparison, that's the fastest way to waste yours. So let go of the timeline, let go of the scoreboard, let go of the pressure to catch up to someone else's path. You're not late, you're just here. And that's exactly where your power lives. The race isn't real, but your peace is. Let go of the story and walk forward at your own pace. The sixth thing you need to remove is constant self-judgment. That voice in your head, you know the one that whispers. You should have done better. You're not enough. They wouldn't struggle like this. It sounds like truth, but it's just a habit. One you learned long ago from people who judged themselves the same way. You don't need a harsher critic. You need a wiser ally. The Stoics didn't demand perfection. They pursued progress with compassion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't waste time arguing what a good person should be. Be one." And being one means starting with how you speak to yourself. So catch that voice, interrupt it, replace it, not with fake positivity, but with clarity. Say, "I didn't fail, I learned, I'm not broken, I'm building, I'm not slow, I'm steady." Because no one heals under constant punishment. Let go of the judgment. Make room for kindness, and let your growth speak louder than your guilt. The seventh thing you need to remove is the fear of starting over. You've built things, you've invested time, energy, identity. So the thought of starting again feels like failure, feels like loss. But here's the truth. Staying in what's wrong, just because you spent time in it, is the real failure. That job, that relationship, that version of you that no longer fits. It's okay to outgrow them. It's okay to walk away from what once felt like everything. The Stoics didn't fear change. They embraced it as nature's flow. Epictetus said, "Don't be afraid of change. You may lose something good, but you may gain something better. So let yourself grieve. But don't let yourself stay stuck. You are allowed to begin again. Without shame, without apology, because starting over is not a weakness, it's a declaration of strength. Let go of the fear, open the door, step forward, even if your hands still shake. The eighth thing you need to remove is excuses disguised as reasons. You say, "I don't have time, I'm just not ready. This isn't the right moment." But pause, is that the truth, or is it fear dressed up as logic? The mind is clever, it knows how to protect you, even if it means protecting you from your own growth. But the Stoics didn't wait for perfect timing, they acted wherever they stood. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." So what are you delaying? That habit, that boundary, that leap you've been planning for 3 years. Let go of the script that says you need more time. Let go of the stories that keep you in neutral. Your life is not a rehearsal. There is no someday, only now, only choice. Let go of excuses, let go of delay, and walk into your power before your potential expires. The ninth thing you need to remove is the urge to fix everyone. You mean well. You really do. You want to help, to solve, to heal. You hear their story and immediately feel responsible to change the ending. So you offer your time, your advice, your emotional energy, and piece by piece, you hand over parts of yourself, trying to put them back together. But here's the hard truth. Some people don't want to be saved. They want attention, or comfort, or someone else to carry the weight of the life they refuse to change. And every time you show up more than they do, you teach them that your energy is a replacement for their accountability. This doesn't make them evil, it just makes the dynamic unhealthy. The Stoics didn't chase transformation in others. They became the example, they lived the change, and let the ripples speak louder than the speech. Epictetus wrote, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." So ask yourself, are you helping or are you avoiding your own journey by getting lost in someone else's chaos? Because here's what it costs. Your focus, your joy, your alignment, your life. Some people will rise when you step back, others will fall, but at least it won't be on you. You're not the glue, you're not the net, You're not their savior. You're just a soul trying to stay whole. So let it go. The pressure, the guilt, the need to fix. You don't need to rescue anyone to be worth loving. You only need to protect the peace you fought so long to find. The 10th thing you need to remove is who you used to be. The version of you that tried to make everyone happy. The one who stayed quiet so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable. The one who settled, who shrank, who tolerated, who survived more than they lived. You held on to them because they got you through things you didn't know how to face. They protected you, they helped you blend in, they kept you from falling apart. But now, you're still carrying them, even though the storm has passed. And here's the problem. The self you outgrow becomes the prison you live in. You feel the pull to evolve, but that old self whispers, don't change too much. People might leave, you might lose your place, you might become someone they don't understand. But the Stoics never feared that, because they didn't seek approval. They sought alignment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one." And that means being the kind of person your future self can trust, not the version others feel comfortable with. So let them go. Let go of the one who over-explained, the one who over-delivered, the one who feared being too much or not enough. You've changed, and that is not betrayal. That is becoming. You are allowed to rewrite your story, to shift directions, to let people be confused, and still keep walking. The person you were helped you survive. But the person you are becoming will help you finally live. Say thank you, then let them go. In silence. With love. With power. You don't have to announce what you're letting go. You don't need to post about it. You don't need a dramatic exit. You don't even need to explain. Some goodbyes don't need noise. They need bright clarity. Because real transformation doesn't come with applause. It comes in the quiet moments of decision where no one is watching, but everything inside you is shifting. You've seen it now. 10 things you might be carrying that were never truly yours to begin with. 10 invisible anchors that pull at your focus, your energy, your joy. You don't have to let them all go at once, but you do have to start. One belief, one behavior, one should that you no longer believe in. That's the Stoic path, not louder, not faster, just truer. The goal is not perfection, it's inner freedom. The kind that doesn't come from adding more, but from releasing what's been slowly weighing you down. The Stoics didn't promise happiness, they promised resilience, and resilience begins when you finally understand this. What you remove shapes you just as much as what you build. So ask yourself, what have I outgrown that I'm still trying to carry? What am I holding on to that no longer honors who I'm becoming? Drop it in the comments. What's one thing you're ready to remove in silence starting today? And if this helped you breathe a little deeper, think a little clearer, then subscribe, not just to this channel, but to a slower, stronger, more intentional life. Up next, how to stop emotional spirals with one ancient Stoic trick. That video is your next step forward. Until then, thank you for being here, for thinking deeper, for choosing to shed the noise and walk your path. Lighter, clearer, more Stoic.